Okay, welcome in everyone. So, my name's Sugi Yamagawa, and today on VTubing my slow life hobbies in my 30s, I have two hand planes here, and I'm going to work on restoring these two. As far as overall game plans for today is concerned, mostly just trying to get these like up and running, but also I'm not going to try and push myself to actually getting them like properly to 100%. So, but we are going to be working on them, and we're going to get them. They're going to be happier hand planes than what they are right now. So, I think as far as priority, well, I don't know. I think I have a lot more confidence getting. So, I probably should actually talk about them. So, I have two hand planes. I have this is my Worthington hand plane. As you can see here. I finally made it to you. It's been a while. Oh, welcome in, Lillian. But yeah. But yeah, I mean, I've also been like out of town this past weekend, so I've also been busy. But yes, this is my Worthington hand plane, which has actually already had the irons for the hand plane. I've already got them cleaned up, and they're in the irons for it are in pretty good shape. But the rest of it, though, not so much. Definitely very dusty. We got a lot of work to do. Which, speaking of which, I actually did not grab my screwdriver. I should have grabbed my screwdriver for today. I thought I was ready, but I was not. But that's fine. That is more than fine. And then we have the second one. This is a combination hand plane. Combination being it's metal and wood. Has a wood sole, metal top. And this is a Bailey hand plane. Bailey, there it is. Oh man, you can actually see it. This is actually kind of nice. But yeah. So we're gonna also work on this one. This one's actually, of the hand planes I bought, this is probably the one that's in the best shape. So I think this one we could probably get up and running today. I honestly think some good cleaning and some work on it, we can irons have seen better days, but ooh. Oh no, that's just the, oh, that's fine. Okay, cool. So we're gonna work on getting all these cleaned up and making them nice and new again. And for that, I need a screwdriver, so pardon me while I go grab a screwdriver. But one of the nice things about the now dual mic setup is that I can actually talk while I'm away from the workbench. Screwdriver required. So, let's see, is this beefy enough? This should be a beefy enough screwdriver to undo this pen. Ideally. Okay. I need a beefier screwdriver, and I have one. Great bin of tools. Ooh, wait. Ooh, I have options. Ooh. Oh, okay. Now we're cooking. So, this is option 1 screwdriver. Not good enough. So we're gonna go to option 2. Option 2, a little more heft, a little bit more girth. Got a little bit more meat to it, so. Ooh, and that is the ticket, which is good. Because otherwise, we'd have to move up to level 3. And level 3's, I feel, excessive. Whew. So, first step in the process is we're just gonna get some water going here. A little bit of water, some dish soap, And the point of this water and dish soap is we just want to make a nice like watery solution. Well, water and soap solution, because as we work to clean this stuff up, the number one thing we want to make sure we do is get as much of the dirt, dust, and debris off. So as you can see, these are hand planes, they've been used. There's a little bit of like old wood dust and such. So, and I'm actually gonna move this. I should move this closer to where I can access. But yeah, and then we're just, and for the first little bit here, we're gonna mainly focus on just cleaning, which I know probably sounds very exciting to some people, but unfortunately, this is how you restore things, is you have to get stuff cleaned up, which actually, I want to turn up the gain a little bit on the environment mic. And let's see here, that should be better. Oh yeah, wow, okay. Well, that side's actually cleaning up pretty nice, which is good. We're gonna have this real rusty side here. Not sure if it's gonna, I'm not sure it's not gonna play super nice with me, but that's fine, that's fine. That is more than fine, because I have options. I actually have more options than last time. Because the big thing with last time is, for most of my rust removal, I was going the chemical route with Evaporust. I have a small can of Evaporust here. This worked really well, but it is also time consuming. So for today, I'm mostly going to focus on, we're going to use good old soap and water to do a general cleaning on our plane and its component parts. And then just have like a water bath here off to the side, just to make sure I get residual soap and what have you. And then I have rags, and it can go. And then all my parts after they're clean will go on the rag pile. So we're just going to be going through cleaning each part bit by bit, little by little. And this is just going to be this is honestly going to be a bit more of a chill stream overall. And it's going to be, spent a lot of time spent cleaning. But that's fine. I feel like that's fine. This was originally meant to be a chill stream. Which also, sorry for moving it, but I was definitely a little bit behind the 8 ball on being ready for my camping trip I did this past weekend. And I definitely could have used the additional time that moving the stream did for me in terms of being prepped for today, but I got it. Okay. Ooh, that's cool. I don't know if that's the, I'm not sure if that's the actual lamination line. So if we look at the back of this hand plane, you can see that there's a real shiny part, and then there's a duller part of metal. You can kind of see it with the shimmer there. This might be laminated, the steel. This is actually the part of the plane that actually does the cutting, and just handling this part here briefly, this is still reasonably sharp. Which further confirms the fact that the Bailey was the better of my hand planes as far as in terms of general condition. It was definitely the better in terms of general condition. And might actually work on hitting some of this rust, but I mean, really a lot of this is actually coming off pretty nicely. A lot of the surface level stuff, which is really good, because So last time I was talking about, like, I went the chemical route, and with the chemical route, I actually did the Worthington's irons, which are the irons you can see here. I actually did those first. Well, I actually cleaned those. So that way I could basically already have the planes for the coffin plane I was restoring already ready. So that's generally good for that, which I think, well, I actually don't think. I know. I gotta shuffle stuff though. I'm gonna move this off to the side, because I'm gonna be introducing you all to a little friend of mine. And that friend's name is Steel Wool. And thanks to the magic of Steel Wool, I'm hoping to do a pretty good job of derusting these two bad boys. Well, the component parts of the irons. Mostly because if I can get everything nice and cleaned up using the steel wool, then this means we can actually work on, like, getting it sharpened, all that fun stuff, and hopefully we'll be pretty good. Because that's the advantage of the steel wool route, is that the steel wool route, you can basically just, like, scrape off the surface level rust, and then you can put your plane back to work, which I might I might soak this after stream in the Evaporust if I just want to get it cleaner. But I think I'll be plenty good today to getting this hand plane back up into, like, running shape today. With just, like, actually just doing a good old-fashioned cleaning with some steel wool, all that fun stuff. Because it's not really that. Because a lot of the rust I'm dealing with is a lot of surface layer rust. So if I take it and wipe it with a fresh dry rag, as you can see, even just really just like some work with the steel wool got this into some pretty good shape. So it's not perfect, but it's reasonably good. Ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. We have tool marks. Stanley Rule and Level Company with an address. Ooh, give me a moment. I have to do some rubbing. We have tool marks. Well, not tool marks, we have stamp marks. So, let's see. Yep, Stanley Rule and Level Company. New Britain, Connecticut? Or New Bryan, Connecticut? That looks like New Bryan, Connecticut. I don't know. Ooh. I'm gonna have to. This is great, because I get to do research. Sweet, glorious research. But let me give this a couple more rubs, and I will see what I can do for you guys. I'm not going to make any promises in your abilities to read this, because it's very faint. Very faint. Yeah, because all of our text is right here with the tool manufacturer's, like, name and where the tool was made. But yeah, this webcam is just not up to snuff for that, which is fine, I suppose. So let me just lay this down here. Try to be careful about getting my fingers near the blade because the blade's still sharp. Having my hands around the blade can confirm the blade's still sharp. Granted, I'm very glad that it's still in good condition, and I have tool marks. I have tool marks because that's actually going to help me do a little bit more research on it. Because it was still like the plan's reasonably good condition, but having tool marks also helps me like track down information on it, and I really personally enjoy looking into the history of tools just because I think it's cool, and I'm also a nerd. This is a nerd-friendly space, by the way. It is. Being a nerd is encouraged, and more importantly, having hobbies is encouraged around here. Because life just isn't as fun with no hobbies, you know? You gotta have things that you actually enjoy spending your time doing. Now, I'm not entirely sure if restoring hand planes is gonna go into my, this is a thing I genuinely enjoy doing with my spare time, but thankfully I have a couple, well, after I get these two hand planes up and running, I only will have one more hand plane in my in my backlog to clean up. And also for those who may not know or may have not seen the last hand plane restoration stream. So the story is with all these hand planes, I actually bought these as part of a lot at my grandpa's auction after he passed away. Because we had a big old auction to basically sell his stuff. And I bought some of his stuff. These hand planes, for instance. So there's also a bit of sentimental value of these to me. Just because these were my grandpa's tools. And have a fair amount of my dad's tools in the shop, and then I'm also adding tools, and just being able to have tools from across the generations. Just being built up bit by bit, little bit by little over time. It's kind of nice. It's kind of nice. I like it as a thought. Also that, and I also like old things. I'm a silly middle-aged man who likes old things. Because that's a big reason why I get excited when I find tool marks and such. Is it helps me get excited for the history of the thing. Granted, man, the steel wool's actually doing work. Thank you, steel wool. Because I know some people are yeah, you can just steel wool most hand planes if it's just surface rust. If you're just willing to work them a little bit, which I gotta say, as far as the amount of elbow grease I've put into this so far, generally not too bad. Generally not too bad. Ooh. Got a little bit of rustiness on that. I think I might hit the edges of this just because just have a little bit of work there. Because they are a little bit rusty, so might as well clean those up. Because if the edges are too rusty, and those they might not fit in the plane too well. So that is most of the chip breaker done. About as much as I'm willing to do right now with steel wool and elbow grease. Oh yeah. I gotta say, not too bad. Not too bad. Looks good. Looks good. So we'll just grab another handy dandy rag and we'll just go ahead and clean it up. Try to get the water off because we don't want it rusting more. That is the least desirable outcome, is more rust. which is also a thing I feel like I might be constantly. I might battle quite a bit with these, simply due to the fact that I just live in a high humidity climate, and part of living in a high humidity climate means things like the rust, and that's unfortunately the reality where I live. Okay. Looks, man, that actually did really good with the, just that little bit of rubbing right there. Really got that screw looking a lot better. So irons are looking good. So let's just go ahead and move to our next part. Just keep going through this thing, and granted, this thing has not had the soap treatment, but I think we'll just skip straight to steel wool, and we'll skip straight to steel wool and just water. Good old water. Just to get this generally cleaned up. But yeah. Welcome to the wonderful world of fixing up tools. Brought to you by a silly VTuber. However, though, I am really looking forward to Saturday's stream, even though I haven't made the waiting room yet, but I'll be making pretzels and beer cheese, which, if you haven't had beer cheese, and you get a chance to try some beer cheese, do yourself a favor, try some beer cheese. Even if you don't like beer, beer cheese is like really good. Really, really good. You don't know what you're missing out on. Okay, got that. And now time for the fun. Ooh. Looks like a little bit of a rusty part right there. We'll go ahead and we'll get that taken care of. And once we got that done, it is now time for a generous helping of elbow grease on this back plate. Wow. Okay. That shined up quickly and nicely. Was not expecting such good results, but hey, I'll take good results. I'll take any positive results I can get. A guy like me needs them. But yeah, I don't, because as you can see, this is actually formerly a this was a painted part at one point. I'm not sure. I'm not so ambitious like today to actually like redo the painted coating or anything. Who knows? Maybe if truly rust is as much of an issue in my shop as it may or may not be, I'll go ahead and actually work on painting the component so that way it can stay unrusted. But at the end of everything, before I put it all together, I'll get some WD-40. And I'll just take some WD-40 to everything, and then that will help deter rust. Whoa. Sorry, had to have a little bit of water just now. Okay, so now so I've got all the parts that I've taken off this plane. All those parts that I've taken off are off. So we're gonna go ahead and work on getting the rest. We're gonna work on getting this frog out. We're gonna take the frog out of that plane. Which the frog is this part. Okay. Then I'm just gonna start throwing parts to be cleaned into the, well, you know, the thing. And also, well, actually, now, well, give me a moment here. I'm actually going to do a bit of a change to one of my mics, namely the ambient mic. Just because I want to get a little bit more of the tool noises, or at least like the noises of the work. You know, come on, screw. I know you want to come out, and you're gonna. You're just playing. You're just fighting with me. And nope. Actually, wait. Is it a proper wood screw? It is a proper wood screw. Would you look at that? As a pointed tip, it means it's a proper wood screw versus the other screw. It's a flat bottom. That's a more machine screw. I know I'm gonna take the knob off, the front knob, to help clean up that part, but I don't know how much I'm gonna, say, strip this plane down to work on it. And then with that, the frog should come right on out. Lovely. Absolutely lovely. Okay. We got a little bit of wood dust here and there, which I'm just gonna try and just clean up off the side. Screwdriver. Just try to kind of get in there. Get all that cleaned up. Still got a little bit more wood dust in it. Sawdust. Okay. With that, I wanna. Oh, okay. That's also one of the things that holds the plane to the sole. Is those screws, because it's loosened up. So if I take this screw out, that should actually fully disassemble the plane. So I'm actually going to work on that next, because if I can get everything disassembled, then I can work on cleaning everything up, and yep, that's it. That's it. Oh man. And also, who knows when was like the last time this thing was actually like disassembled and like cleaned up? There's no telling. So my screw still wishes to stay firmly embedded in the knob, but it did come out just now, so that's good. Okay. Man, let's do this. Ah! Oh man. Look at that. Oh. Sorry, excited old man noises. Oh man. This piece of wood right here, this is a nice piece of wood, alright. But yeah, I'm probably gonna take a wet rag to this and just, well, maybe not even a wet rag. I might just, yeah, I'll take a wet rag to that. I'll take a wet rag to that. I think for these guys, we'll collect them. And we'll actually, for this next upcoming section, we'll bring back soap and water. A good old trusty duo that cleans not only tools, but also me. But yeah, I mean, granted, most of these screws actually aren't too bad because they were, well, you know, buried in the wood and all, so screws will go pretty quickly, whereas some of the other components, I'm expecting the frog to be quite a bit of work. Just because it's the frog, it has lots of nooks and crannies. It's going to be a lot to work on. But that is fine. That is fine. I can work on a tool. Any day. Any day. Okay. Let's try to get that head cleaned off. Whoa, Nelly. Okay. So that's going to be all that. Let's say for our next victim, we're going to just spend some time with this knob right quick. And then for the knob, I'm not going to really be dipping it in the water too much. I'm really just wanting to use some soap and water to just do a nice general cleaning. Not trying to just make it like look better, you know? Make it look a little bit more maintained. I'm not trying to... I don't want to get to the point where I am busting out any like sandpaper for cleaning up the wooden parts to like undo a finish and then like refinish them. I'm not that ambitious. Because my goal, as I stated before, is I'm just trying to get these up to working condition. I'm not trying to make them pretty, because if I try to make them pretty, I might be overextending myself, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to say like frustrate myself by trying to do something that is a little bit beyond my skill set, which I'm already outside my skill set because I've only done one of these hand plane restorations, and that just turned out a solid okay. Nothing great, but just a solid okay. So with that, we have it. We have the knob generator cleaned up. Looks better. Doesn't look as dirty. I don't know if you all can tell or not, but if you look at the wood grain here, you can see there's like some. You can see there's like the there's the grain direction, which is running this way, and then there's also these lines that are running tangential to the wood grain. The ones that are running this way up, like basically up and down, those are actually ray cells, and those are cells that are responsible for moving sap from the tree like along the side-to-side axis. And very big noticeable ones like that means this piece is made out of oak. So this piece of wood is that. So this is actually a piece of oak wood that they used for this tool. That's gonna go there. And that darkened up in a way where it didn't look like I cleaned it. Oh well. If I wanted to make it like really, really nice, I could probably honestly just get some sandpaper and sandpaper it, but I really don't want to do that. So I really don't want to do that. I just feel like that might be getting a little bit too ambitious. So for now, we're gonna work with the sole, and we're just gonna moist cloth with soap, and combined with a cornucopious helping of good old elbow grease. Really shine this plane up nicely. Or at least make it look like that it's cared for. I think Grandpa might have been a little, well, Grandpa might have been a little bit too much like me, and it's like, man, if this works, great. I don't have to show it any more love and care other than that. Granted, I will say this, I actually never tried to make any proper cuts with this hand plane. So, I actually don't know. I never like pre-tested it before I decided to do this. So, but we're gonna go through it, we're gonna clean it out. So right now, we're working on the throat. And then for that, I just slip my wet rag through, pull it through, and then I just pull it a little bit back through. We'll come to the other side, pull it through, and then if we do a reveal, we got a reasonably good, well, reasonably clean sides. Ah! Granted, I can't get the angle right. There it is. Oh yeah. See, we got nice clean grooves and all and everything. And since this is a piece of wood, we're gonna go ahead and with a dry cloth, just give this a nice rub down just to kind of, just because we hit it with some water, I just do want to like quickly dry it out because I don't want that water to sit on there. That might cause an issue. But I will say this is generally shined up, looks definitely better than what it did. So, yippee, there. I need water. I really need to hydrate. Because my hydration needs right now are higher than what they would be normally, simply due to the fact that I donated blood yesterday. And because of that, my need for hydration is a little bit elevated compared to how I normally am. So I might be really sipping on the water today. So then we'll just work on cleaning this part, and then I think for this part, since there's not really a lot of rust on it because it's a painted part, I think we're going to just work on kind of just cleaning it, getting it basically getting it nice and clean, getting all the dust off, any grime, and then past that, we're gonna call it good. Dip it in a little bit of water here, all that good stuff, and bada bang, bada boom. We have cleaned that. Now, here comes the hard part, which is going to be the frog. The frog has all these nooks and crannies. As this moving spindle part, there's a lot to work on. So I'm honestly just going to go ahead and hit this back and forth, just so that way we can get it, try to get all the big stuff knocked off is the main first goal, big stuff knocked off, which it sounded a little bit looser than what it was at the beginning. And since we have all these nooks and crannies, go ahead and get all those cleaned up to the best of my ability. Which ain't much, but it's something. Then I want to really clean up this brass part right here. So let's go ahead and try to get our cloth in there as best as we can. Ooh, yeah. There we go. There we go. Yeah, really getting some grime out of that. So, let's see here. Can I get a little bit more out of that? Because if I can get a little bit more, it's pretty good. Oh yeah. Look at that. Shines! It actually shines now. We actually got a shiny bit of brass. Okay, cool. So, I'm gonna go ahead and take the soap and water. We're gonna set this off to the side. We're gonna bring back just our regular water. I'm just gonna go ahead and just give this a quick dip. Swirl it around. Lay it off to the side to dry. And with that, we have screws, and I'm gonna play with the screws a little bit. We're gonna get all these lovely screws cleaned up, and then once we get the screws cleaned up, wonder what I want to do next. Don't know. I think I might actually work on. Might actually work on the iron, sharpening up the irons. I think that might be the task to do next. I think. With the head firmly in the steel wool. Let's give it some good spinning. Hopefully, as much as that rust off as we can. Because I really want to get as much as that rust off as I can. You know, clean it up. I want to make this look pretty. Not sure if I will succeed in my endeavor, but I'm going to at least make an honest to goodness effort to do so. But yeah, you can actually start to see a little bit more metal when it comes to the head of the screw. Okay, that's that one, and next we have the machine screw. This is the one that holds the whole frog assembly in place. And I'm noticing I'm splashing water on my piece of wood that I prefer not to splash water on. So we're gonna go ahead and clean this up. Okay. And that's a screw done. So we're halfway through our screws, granted the wood screws, not really a lot of rust to these guys. Pretty good condition, pretty good. Granted, since I now have some mill marks, I really want to do a little bit more research at some point on this hand plane. Since it seems to be an old school combination plane. Okay. So that's reasonably cleaned up. Okay, cool. So let's do a double check of my container. Let's do a quick inventory of all my parts. I have all my parts, which is the ideal outcome. So, all that, bucket of rust water goes away. And I get to introduce a new thing of water. Which ideally that's enough water for this guy. my King Deluxe stone. Ah, don't have just enough water to cover the dang thing. Well, I do got a little bit of extra drinking water. I'll give up some drinking water for the cause. But yeah, this is actually a proper whetstone. And this is what I'll be using to sharpen my iron. I might do a few quick passes on my diamond plate, which I do have here. And ta-da! Diamond plate. But I am going to be letting that soak for a bit, because I want the water to fully like penetrate in and such. It's very important for, well, it's generally important for the whetstone. So move this over, set that there. Really having to make a lot of room now. So that way I can get my lovely terra cloth. Or this is also the thing that some people will put in like their drawers to keep like stuff from sliding around. I use it to keep my grinding stones nice and anchored to my workbench, which probably go ahead and anchor one of my corners, so that way my workbench doesn't wobble too much on me, because I don't want my workbench to be wobbling while I'm trying to work on these planes. So yeah. So next up, we're going to do a couple of light passes with the diamond. Now the diamond plate is a bit coarser. I think it's 600 grit, but we do have a bit of material here and dirt, and I want to make sure I get that removed first before we actually get into like really sharpening this thing. Okay. Ooh, okay. So even with those couple of passes there, you can see we're starting to get some nice clear steel. So it should really only be a matter of time before we get reasonably nice clean steel across the whole plane. Well, across the whole iron. I mean, sorry. I am 100% an amateur at this, so. But it's fine to be an amateur. It is fine to be a person who tries. It is fine to be someone who just wishes to be an enthusiast, which is generally how I like to describe myself in relation to my hobbies. Is I like to call myself an enthusiast. So I think I've got. I definitely have a lot more work to do, but it's definitely looking better. just hoping to get the majority of the bulk work done with my coarser grit, because this grit is so coarse you can actually see the you can actually like I can see the texture and the marking and how much this cuts, but you can kind of really see the shiny bit right there. This is definitely gonna get sharp. Hit it with a little bit more water. Because if you don't use water with your whetstone, it's not going to work so well. Okay. I think that's as much as I'm willing to do with this for now. Grab my main kingstone, hit it with some water. Now I don't know if this kingstone was laying in the pool of water long enough, but we will see if it was sufficient to keep the stone wet while I work. But this is definitely gliding a lot smoother, but that is also because it is a finer grit, therefore it's removing less material. And my plane blade is looking really good so far. It's getting it nice and even is going to take a bit of time. Which I'm going to also occasionally be hitting it with the top of this with my diamond plate. The purpose for that is to make sure that I'm getting a nice, even, consistent wear on my stone, so that way I don't get higher or low spots on it. Because if I get high and low spots on it, then I don't get as good of a consistent of sharpening. Okay, diamond plate time. Water, and back to the grind. I always wanted to make that fun. Oh, goodness gracious. Why make dad jokes when you can make Uncle Tier jokes? Okay, where are we at now? And let's see. honestly virtually no change in terms of my blade edge. So what I'm going to do is we're going to swap these out. Occasionally replaying chat messages. I might have to look at them. I have a thing to look into later. Whoa, Nelly. And if it takes me a while to get like a really clean edge. Whoa. It's a little bit of surface oxidation on my other irons. I'm trying to clean these. I'm trying to clean them and keep them nice. And I think I will actually work on sharpening the other iron after I get this one honed. Granted, that's the fun thing with the diamond grit one. The diamond grit one really removes material, which it is actually removing more material. Might actually, maybe, get this to where I want it. But we will see, we will see. Okay. So, it's coming along better. But I don't want to get too terribly caught up with just sharpening. So if I think if I get it reasonably, because I'm pretty sure if I were to just hit this up on the King 1000 grit, I think I'll be good. As far as blade sharpness is concerned. Just not getting the last little, I think it's starting to. I'm gonna grab some water. For me, and then a little bit of water for the whetstone. And we'll just keep working at it. Okay. So with that, we'll bust out the kingstone once again. Readjust this, not slice my hand open. Give it a good wet. And then we'll just do a little bit of honing. on the kingstone. And we should be good. Blade, but it'll be fine. That will be fine. We're not really trying to hurt anything too much. We're not trying to be too ambitious today. Because honestly, this is just more of a chill stream for me. Just give me something nice and easy to do. Okay. Okay, let's see. Okay. I'm gonna grab myself a piece of paper here. We're gonna see how well this iron cuts. Hey now. Okay. So it can cut. It can cut. I mean, it's not perfect in terms of how well I've got it sharpened, but there's a limit to... There's kind of a bit of a limit to what I'm willing to work on as far as like one plain blade, but I think I will work on the the other one. But I'm gonna take a bathroom break, and after the bathroom break, we'll sharpen the other plane and, well, the other iron. The iron I already have prepared, just because I have got my whetstones out. My whetstones out, and they're wet. So I'm gonna throw on the BRB screen, and I'll be back after a few. And I'm back from the restroom. So, this is the set of irons from my Worthington hand plane. I don't think we're gonna try to go for a full restore on it, but since I have my whetstones out, I am gonna go ahead and get this iron sharpened up because, well, I'm already doing this, might as well commit to it. And I hope everyone out there is having a good day today. I have had a fairly good day today, reasonably happy. Was kind of bracing for a more challenging day than I got, so I'd say there's a whole lot of no complaining happening here in my neck of the woods. Granted, I'm also like really behind on my gardening, which tomorrow is probably going to be the aspect of my chore backlog that I tackle. It's going to be the gardening portion of the chore backlog. Because I've got lettuce that needs to go into the ground. I have sunflowers that need to go into the ground. Probably a few basil plants. I've got work to do. And that's kind of the rough thing about being a slow life hobbyist is that a lot of people like to think that being a slow life hobbyist is easy, but at times it can be reasonably challenging. With just like all the other like managing the homestead plus other societal obligations. Like work. The big one, the really big one. Or doing what I'm doing here today. Yo, what's up? Hey, what's this? Welcome in, welcome in. But yeah, right now we're pretty much just sharpening. And sharpening. Doing a lot, well, we're sharpening things because I got my whetstones out. Whetstone 1, whetstone 2. I actually just finished up this iron. Which this is the iron for the combination plane. And I don't have it super sharp. Well, you were cutting earlier. You're cutting really good earlier. It cuts reasonably well, which I think is the side. How about this side? Will you play nicely with that side? You will play nicely from this corner not so much. So I've got this reasonably sharpened up. And now we're working on the irons for the Worthington hand plane I've got here. Which I'm not probably going to get too ambitious with the Worthington today. Mostly because I think I want to get the Bailey up and running. Maybe hopefully do little holes, but it looks pretty shiny. Yeah. Definitely like having shiny blades. But yeah. And kind of the whole thing with sharpening is that sharpening is just, it's a process. It's a steady process. Especially for irons like these that have not seen much love for a very long time. So they definitely need some sharpening, some TLC to get back up into proper wood cutting form. And that's basically what we're aiming for today, is to get them back up into proper wood cutting form. I'm hoping with enough strokes on the diamond plate right here, we can hopefully get the shininess on this one to go all the way across. So we got lots of shininess on one side, and then it's a little bit of dull on the other, on this corner. So, but so far this one's actually this one's cleaning up a lot easier than the other iron. The other iron, it took work. That's the nice way of putting it. Whereas I think this one will actually, this one's actually on track to clean and sharpen up a little bit quicker. So I'm very encouraged by that. But yeah, past that, it's also just been me rambling about my day and how I've generally had a good day today. And I hope that you have had a generally good day today. Okay, that's looking a little dry. Splash a little bit of water. And also just me rambling about the amount of chores I have to do, because that's basically what owning a house is like, is having always have things to do, but also having a house with a garden, because garden requires maintenance, and I can't maintenance my garden while I'm at work, which is very sad. At least it's... Ah, I just graduated today. Nice. Very nice. Congratulations on that. Was it like high school or college? Or if you don't want to say, you don't have to say. I'm not going to pressure you, but I will congratulate you. So congratulations on your achievement. Because I actually never graduated high school. And it's a really long story. A really long story involving the fact that I was primarily an unregistered homeschool student who actually got into college through test scores and managed to actually live a decent portion of my life before it was like, I should probably get my high school. Thank you kindly. Ah, high school, okay. I've never graduated the high school. But yeah, a few years later, I did actually, well, wow, that was actually a while ago. Okay. But yeah, I did go back and get my GED, which is basically the equivalent. It's basically a, it's kind of like a high school diploma, but you just take some tests to get it. You don't actually have to actually go to like a proper school for it. At least here in the US land. Okay. So I'm gonna call that generally good as far as working it with that. I'm gonna give a slide back and forth. And we're gonna move to the Kingstone. The 1000 grit Kingstone. And this is where we'll do the actual honing. Well, because right now we have a blade, but we do not have a particularly sharp blade. And the work that we're going to do here on this stone is what's going to set us up for having an actual sharp edge, sharp blade. And I also am now being reminded I need to actually set up a a bowl to collect the water that's dripping off the Kingstone. Looks super smooth. Yeah! Well, that's actually the unfinished side. But yeah, Kingstone's like basically like one of the big sharpening stone brands. I actually picked this up on Amazon for a reasonable price, because one of my tool philosophies is buy tools that get the job done. But as far as like stuff like this, like these like hand planes, like they were fairly cheap as far as like tools are concerned, because I bought them at an auction. But I did spend like $40 on this one Kingstone, which is a lot more. Well, actually, I've spent more on the sharpening stone than the tools I've put to the sharpening stone. Because the main things I've put to the sharpening stone are my hand plane blades, like what you're seeing here today. I have used it to sharpen my $10 set of Harbor Freight chisels. So I was because when I was looking at the Harbor Freight chisels, I was like, it's $10 and I get 6 chisels. Well, what did I refer to them as? Oh, I referred to them as chisel-shaped pieces of metal. That's what I referred them to. So I was like, okay, because I already had this Kingstone. I was like, I can put a good edge on them with the sharpening stuff I have now. Granted, I think I probably at some point would like to upgrade and get a extra fine, because this is 1000 grit and that's 600, and I think it would be nice to have something that's a little bit finer, maybe probably like 2000 grit, just to really hone a blade in. Granted, I can get pretty good results with just the 1000 grit Kingstone here. For my kitchen knives, for instance, I can sharpen those on here to the point where they can slice tomatoes cleanly, which is my personal metric for having a sharp kitchen knife. If the kitchen knife can cleanly cut tomatoes, it is a sharp kitchen knife and I don't have to worry about sharpening it. Now, once it gets to the point where it does not cut tomatoes so cleanly, then my knife has dulled and I need to bring it to my whetstone and give it some TLC. But as long as it cuts tomatoes, I'm basically Hakuna Matata as far as like the sharpness is going. But yeah, every once in a while, I'm just going to take my diamond plate and hit the top of the Kingstone, primarily to keep it flat and level, because the diamond plate is basically flat and level. It is like an ultra flat, ultra smooth surface, which I can use as a reference surface to cleaning up my sharpening stone as I use it, because even though I'm trying to go side to side with my strokes, so that way I try to wear the stone down as evenly as I can, I will still sometimes end up with some high spots and low spots. So I just try to like keep all that on the level, so that way my stone can produce a consistent edge. As long as it slices tomatoes, you're a ninja. It's not being a ninja, it's just having a sharp knife. It's all just a matter of having a sharp blade. Okay. Also, another thing I look, because you can kind of see, well, you guys can't see it. You can kind of see if I bring it up. But yeah, that dull gray stuff, That is actual bits of iron. Well, yeah, iron and steel from the blade. And when I see those start to accumulate a little bit too much, then that is a sign that I either need to reapply some water to this or get the diamond stone out. Varies a little bit. But yeah, this will, I'm quite confident this will sharpen up very nicely though. It's just, sharpening is just, especially when you're working off from kind of an unmaintained state, it takes a while. If this was a tool I was actively using and I just needed to sharpen it up right quick, I could probably have it back up to snuff in less than 3 minutes, assuming my stones are ready. But in today's case, that is not the case. It's actually a reason why, if I were to level up my sharpening system from here, I would look at getting a rougher diamond plate, maybe like a 400 grit, just so that way if I wanted to quickly remove material from a blade edge, I could do so. Because right now I just have a 600 diamond plate and a 1000 grit standard stone, which generally gets the job done. Like this is generally good and generally gets things sharp. Gets things to the point where I need them to be. Which at the end of the day is kind of the main thing that matters. But when you get hobbies, you're always on the lookout for like the next upgrade. And if I were to upgrade my sharpening, that's what I would do, is I would kind of expand my stone selection a little bit, because one, I still have plenty of life in the stones I have. And then two, if I get a coarser grit stone, then that gives me the option to remove material quickly. So that way I can get the blade up to snuff faster with less work. And then if I get an ultra fine blade, ultra fine stone, like say 2000 grit, then all I have to do, because when you get into like the ultra fine grits, it doesn't take as many passes to get a sharp, take it from like sometime on here to the extra fine stone. It doesn't really take a lot of strokes, like unlike what I'm having to do now. Granted, let's wipe this off, give a good look. I gotta say, it's pretty good, reasonably good, reasonably shiny. Do have a bit of a dull spot, but that's fine. So there should be a slight burr on the back of this, and then to take that burr off, you just lay the iron down nice and level, and we'll actually go ahead and do a few more strokes. There we go. So I am reasonably confident in stating that this is a sharpened iron. Now, my general test for a sharp iron is a good old paper test. So, let's see if I was successful. Being a little bit rough. I go from that end. So if we try from the other. It is certainly sharp enough to cut wood. Actually, let me grab a block. Woo. Sure. So, got ourselves a piece of cedar here. So it does slice. Oh, it's not like, this is not sharp. This is not sharp. It's generally sharp. It is get the job done sharp. It is not, it looks threatening, goal achieved. We're gonna actually wanna try this plane from earlier on my sacrificial bit of cedar. Which I feel like, actually, I feel like this iron's sharper. Okay. Okay. And I now have a mess to clean up. So we're gonna set that over there. Actually, I'm gonna set my whetstone in water for just a little bit. And oh, dink the camera a little bit. But yeah. But yeah, all this debris you see here, this is all iron shavings. This is all material that was removed from the sharpening process. So I certainly don't feel confident saying I had like very sharp, but sharp enough to get the job done is a sharpness level that does exist. And I do feel confident in achieving that. So that part goes with you. So I am going to clean up a little bit here because the next stage involves this guy. So this is called the soul of the plane, and this is the part that when you're sending your plane through the wood, this is the part that you want to be really, really, really flat. So to really flatten up the sole of this plane, I'm going to do a process called lapping. And for that, I need to grab a thing that's right next to me. A low thing right next to me. Ah! Gotta be really careful. But yes, this is a slab of granite. Standard slab of granite that I honestly have no idea where this came from. Genuine. And then what I'm gonna do here is add a little bit of sandpaper. And this is kind of the tricky part, is just getting the sandpaper big guy. Yes. Well, it's actually, how big is this guy? So we are roughly 10.5 inches in freedom units. In non-freedom units, we are 27 centimeters across. Length, we have 19.5 inches of freedom units. And let's call it a little bit more than 49 centimeters of units that actually make sense. So lapping, what lapping is basically, I'm not 100% sure that this surface I have here is 100% flat. I want it to be 100% flat. this slab of granite is granite. This is cut stone. It is flat. It's probably one of the flattest things I have in the shop. So by putting some sandpaper and we're going to just take the sole of the hand plane and we're going to go back and forth lightly, because if I put too much pressure, this will move too much. Which, wow. Okay, so with just a little bit of lapping I've done here, so there's a little bit of material not being taken here, but I am having lots of material here and up in here. This means this thing is already pretty close to flat, which is good. But we're going to continue working it until I have an entirely new, smooth bottom. And then that's going to give me a reference surface for this hand plane. Also, this is 40 grit sandpaper. It is very coarse stuff, which is really good for stuff like this where we're having to remove a lot of material all at once. And honestly, look at that. Brand new. Gotta love the smell of fresh oak in the morning. But yeah, it's lapped now. And it's like one of the fun things with like lapping is like it's, especially with like a really good sandpaper like this is. Like, I've had a lot of fun using this sandpaper so far. And this is actually the first time I bought like sandpaper kind of like this. Because I actually bought this sandpaper just for like taking care of these hand planes, but eventually I'm going to take like chunks of this, staple them to some scrap pieces of 2x4, and I'll make sanding blocks out of them so I can sand down stuff. For reference, this is what like a standard sanding block is. This is progressive fine, so this is just for like sanding, buffing out parts of projects. So what I want to do is, honestly, I want to grab a cornucopious amount of rags. So I'm going to go grab a cornucopious amount of rags on the other side of the shop. Yay! Rags! Cause heavy. Big, heavy, son of a granite. Just because I want to, because I have a lot of water from all the sharpening, and I don't want to have water here anymore because we're gonna assemble. We're gonna bring this together. So we're gonna go ahead and start with this part. This is the part that holds the combination plane together. And we're actually going to put on the nub first. We're going to put on what is basically the top part. Goes here. And then I need to find an appropriate screwdriver. And hopefully that'll be reasonably self-centering. Because that's kind of the big reason why I want to get this one in first. Because then this one pretty much sets how this is versus everything else. Okay. I've been waiting to see how it would look like So it's not gonna be, so I'm actually not going super hard for looks on this. Primarily because I'll probably be here all day. Plus I'm also just, generally speaking, not the most, like, I'm not like an actual like skilled guy at restoring things. But I am a guy willing to learn. I'm willing to learn, have some fun, and I mean, I already have these hand planes laying around, and I would like to, you know, get them up to snuff and see what I can do. Which, still have some moisture on my frog here, which I want to get that cleaned up. With that reasonably cleaned up, I must get every man's best friend. Every garage-dwelling American's best friend. WD-40. So I'm going to be hitting this with some WD-40, because I don't want... because we got some moving parts, and some parts that are going to contact wood and such. I'm going to just make sure you get a nice, generous helping of WD-40. So, the reason why we're doing a nice, generous helping of WD-40 here is WD-40, the W&D and WD-40. The WD stands for water displacement. And what that means, if you take a surface and you go... Willing to learn Cal here too. Never seen these types of planes, so I'm a newbie. Oh, okay. Well, this type of plane right here is actually called a combination plane, and this is actually a really old style of plane, because generally your planes come in either one of two varieties. Variety 1 would be something like I am about to show here. And that's so this is a wooden plane. This particular style, it's called a coffin plane because, well, in profile it looks a bit like a coffin. So you either have like wooden style planes like these. Also, I need to find that thing too. I need to find the other thing, the other wonderful thing. But the other wonderful thing is in magical drawer. That's not numbered, but I know what it is. So most of my planes are in the Western style, but I do have one Japanese style hand plane, and it's this one. And it's literally a blade and a piece of wood. It's very simple. Very, very simple, very easy to use. And to actually like set the blade, you would actually like tap the back of the thing here with a hammer, and it would actually go in. Granted, I can actually just kind of get it in like that. And there we go. So this is the Eastern style of hand plane, and then you have like the Western style, because Eastern styles of hand planes like this cuts on the pool, which is why it's kind of like built the way it is it's a pool cut plane, whereas a Western style hand plane that's already fully assembled is like this. So you hold it like this and you push it across the wood. And this is an old Stanley. This thing alone is actually going to be the subject of a whole stream. But, well, it might be more than one stream because my handle's cracked on it and I have to remake the handle. So this is a big project, but this is actually a Stanley. So this is a Stanley number 5. this is actually kind of like, this is like kind of one of the most like basic, and like nearly everyone has a Stanley number 5. It's kind of like the go-to near jack of all trades plane. And then this thing here that I've been working on today is kind of the weirdo. It's kind of a weirdo. And it's a weirdo because it's called a combination plane. And it's a combination plane because it is part wood, but also part steel. Nice plane collection. Oh, welcome in, Coleberry. Yeah, it's certainly an interesting one. And the funnest fact about it is I actually got all these from my grandpa's auction when he passed away. Because my grandpa, what he did basically as his like retirement hobby is he did a lot of furniture restoration and antiquing. So as part of his shop and such, he had a whole bunch of like hand planes and like various other like woodworking tools. Also, he just collected stuff to collect stuff because that's just the type of person my grandpa was. And this doesn't bode well for me, because I also like collecting things. And damn it, it all started with Pokemon cards. But here we are now working on planes. Specifically this combination plane. But yeah, it is neat in terms of like the perspective that we have several. There's not only like different brands, but also like different types from different eras. Like the coffin plane I showed off first. That is from the Ohio Tool Company. This is from this one right here that I'm working on is from Bailey Tools. If I can get my screwdriver to sit in the slot nicely. It is not wanting to do so. And if it's too broad, if the tip's too thick, I have a thinner tip screwdriver for that purpose. Then over here is the Worthington, which this is going to be the next victim on the plane restoration. And then I also have the Japanese plane, which I have no idea who the maker is of. I really wish I knew. And really, my only indication of who actually made it. Darn it, I need to. Well, actually, wait a second. Should be able to tap this out with just the back of a screwdriver handle. Yep. Is the marking. And it's really hard to see it exactly, but I'm pretty sure this is the Hikirana for O. He sounds like a cool grandpa. I'm working on restoring some of my grandpa's old tools too. Feels good to keep the tradition going. Yeah, that's the spirit. Also, if I just spend time doing stuff my grandpa did and enjoying hobbies that he also enjoyed, maybe I also too can become like a weird old man. Maybe grandpa was kind of normal. Oh, thanks for the sub. But yeah, that is like the ultimate game plan for me though, is to just become like a strange but fun old man. That's a big goal for me, like personal goal. Wow. And I probably should be paying attention to what I'm doing, and I should probably also work on trying to hand thread this in. How'd it go? So happy got to catch you live again. Have a dope day. Oh, thank you very much, Wispus. And I hope you have a wonderful day. And once again, congratulations on getting out of high school. Okay, so I'm not sure if that's too tight or... Okay, so we can definitely have a little bit more room to go down. I'm not going to tighten that too much. Now for the fun part. Now time for the fun part. Assembling my irons. And my screw's still wet. And that's not good. Just spent all this work removing rust. Don't want to reintroduce moisture. Granted, that's also the point of the good old WD-40. So, let's see here. Do that, fold up like that. All the clothes to protect the planes. They are too, yeah, so all the rags. So earlier I was using whetstones to sharpen the plane irons. And basically what all the clothes are here for is my workbench is very wet right now. And because my workbench is very wet right now, I want to keep this water off the plane, so I just basically threw a whole bunch of rags down to keep all the moisture away. And I just figured it would also be like something of a surface I could assemble on, where I wouldn't have to worry about things too much. Which right now, the big question right now is, how much do I actually remember how this came together? Which I think it was like done like that. So I am presuming a lot right now, as I usually do. Because please don't take what I'm doing as like actual like expert instruction or anything. Because an expert I am not. I am by no means an expert. But I am an enthusiast who's willing to try. Who's willing to try and learn. Just kind of where I put myself at on the spectrum of people. Okay. Ooh, we still got a little bit of moisture here on our locking plate. Which actually, thinking about it, probably shouldn't be keeping the irons on. What I'm going to do here is a nice generous helping of the good old WD-40. And then we'll just give this a nice quick wipe down, just to keep rust and stuff off the planes. And that actually made the tool mark stand out really nicely. Go back. Okay. So I've got that wiped down, so I can go ahead and insert those. And then I want to also, as a spirit, keep learning, and then you be the master carpenter old man someday. Yes. Yes. That's the dream. That's the dream. And that's feeling good. So I'm not going to worry about any additional lubrication there. So we're going to go ahead and assemble all this. And I might have to back out this screw. Give it a few turns. Whoa. Hey, irons, why are you like that? Let me adjust you slightly. Okay. And confirm. I probably did the chip breaker wrong. And I'm pretty sure front. Which actually, this is why it's always good to have fully assembled other planes laying around. No, that's actually, huh? Interesting. Interesting. But so what I'm doing, I pulled the irons out of my other. Okay. I see what I got. Okay. So this is the irons for what I have now. I actually have the iron on backwards, which thankfully having the Stanley's irons assembled helped me realize. So all I have to do is slide down, flip my iron over, slide it back in, and then I want to have a very, very thin bit of room between chip breaker and the iron. And then we'll get the screw a nice tighten. So this is the old Stanley number 5, fully assembled, and it looks good. And this is why I like having stuff that's pre-assembled that I can reference. Granted, that's also the nice fun thing about doing these streams is if I get really confused, I can just go back into the VOD and be like, okay, how did I originally have this set up again? Yep, I used to flip my irons all the time. Cutting edge was always upside down when it's right. It's very, yep. Yep. Okay, then we'll do. Okay. So, let's see here. So what I think's going on right now is I gotta get my angle of attack on my adjuster wheel set right. I may have spun it a little too much earlier when I was trying to clean it. And it's also like it's kind of like the situation where like it's a new tool. Where you may not know how to set it up correctly or like get it like really dialed in. Ooh. Okay. Well, I don't think I have the depth. I need to add a little bit more depth to the irons. To be able to make a cut, but we're really close. We're very close here. Ah! Wonderful. Okay. Sweet! Okay. So, to finish tonight's stream off, I'm gonna get a piece of wood into my vise. And we'll see if we get any good cuts with it. Ooh, yeah. Let's go with this piece. Actually, wait. Don't I have a piece I was using earlier? Yeah, there's the piece I was using earlier. Aha! Do you use the planes or are you collecting? So, my primary goal is to use. I've actually recently gained a VTuber friend by his channel's name's called Dad's Old Chop, and he's kind of like he's really big into hand tool woodworking, and he did some like plane showcases and some tools from like his collection. And after seeing that, let's see shavings carpentry height. Oh no, carpentry height. I assure you, I don't know if I can live up to carpentry height, but I'll try this. I'll try to do what I can. But he was showcasing his stuff and what he has to do to like have his planes working. So, and I've actually been sitting on these planes for a while. I actually bought these planes like, gosh, like way back in, I want to say 2001. So I had them for a while. This one, the Japanese style hand plane, this one I actually restored that year, but the rest of these I've actually just been sitting on. But I am looking forward to getting to use them eventually on projects. So we will see about that. And then, so I've got a piece of wood here, but because everything in the shop is meant to be somewhat mobile, because I'm doing this out of a 300 square feet garage. Most of the tools on my shop are on wheels to facilitate moving them around and being able to like move stuff, including this workbench. Everything's on wheels. But whoa, don't scare me. Don't do that. It scares me when you do that. But I did. This is actually my most, well, this thing, this carpentry device, this is actually my most recent tool purchase. And this is actually the Harbor Freight one. And at some point I'm going to clean up the mess I made with trying to get this mounted, because I made it way too hard for myself to do that. Because that's how because that's kind of how I am. So we have ourselves a Bailey combination plane. Feel like we've got reasonably sharp edge. Let's see if we can get some shavings. I'm not sure how optimistic I can be, because my bench might want to move, and my bench really wants to move on me. So I'm going to take that as a sign that I'm probably being too aggressive. So try to go light. I always wanted a carpentry device. Congrats on getting one. I mean, this thing is, I picked it up at the Memorial Day sale, so it was even cheaper, but I think I got paid like barely $70 for it. Because, yeah, not gonna lie, I was not wanting to splurge for one for a while because of how expensive they are. But then I found this one, and it's like, okay, seems to be a reasonably good deal for something of reasonably good quality. And yeah, it kind of really makes me wish I didn't bosh up the installation as much as I did, but that can be fixed. Dowels exist for a reason. I can cover up the bolt heads. Not a big deal. So I got it taking a much thinner cut. So, ooh, that actually wants to. Well, it is wanting to cut now. Brandon. Getting pseudo shavings. But it's not playing super nice with me just yet, but I will say I love using sassafras as test wood, because as soon as I cut into it, as soon as I do anything with sassafras, it smells like root beer. It's great. I don't think I'm too much off, but it is feeling very resistive, which, let's see if I can do even less. And I think at this point it might just slide over. Whoa. Huh. Okay. I think we're getting slightly more consistent results. Ooh. Ooh, there we go. Got a decently long shaving there. And I do think one issue is my blade may not be set level. But we are getting shavings. We are doing reasonably good on shavings. Whoa. Ooh, there we go. Damn. Granted, I am twisting my workbench slowly. Okay. Definitely think I have a lot to learn on technique, execution, and general setup of the plane. But as far as taking something from one state, getting it into another, it's hard to use a plane on the bench that slides. Need to bolt mine down. Yeah. Might have to figure out a bench solution. Root beer. I love the smell of root beer. Oh man. Man, that's wonderful. Except for the fact my workbench moves too much, but reasonably good cuts. Like, it planes fairly well. Granted, I mean, this is also sassafras, which is why I like to use it as test material, because it's making a nice noise as it glides now. Oh, that's good. That's good. But yeah, definitely making some reasonably nice shavings. That'll be some nice fire starter for later. But yeah, I like sassafras as a wood. And I'm not saying that because I bought nearly 400 square feet of it off Facebook Marketplace 2 years ago. It is a hardwood, but even being a hardwood, it's still barely workable as far as a hardwood's concerned. It's like, it has really nice, well, some people probably don't consider that nice looking, but it has pretty nice, it's a pretty nice overall look to it. I like it as a wood. It's been generally good. Granted, I still need to make wood pads for the vise. That is a thing I have been delaying on because, well, I delay on all sorts of things because life is life. But sassafras is great because it's reasonably workable as far as a hardwood's concerned. It's actually in terms of workability, it's closer to pine than it is to, say, oak. But to me, that's the appeal of it as like a test piece for like a hand plane or something, because it's workable hardwood. I feel like is the best way to say it. Plus also the fact, like, if I just take these shavings and put them in my face, it smells like root beer, because sassafras. But yeah, sassafras is great. And this Bailey combination plane is pretty good. Also discovered some tool marks, which I will try to show. They're right at the top of the iron, but they're very, very, very faint. Like, I have to see them in the light. I think you can tell that they're there, but can't read. But they read as follows: Stanley Rule and Level Company, New Bryan, Connecticut. So that is a company name, and that is a location. So one of my evening things is going to be like looking up some information on this thing, because hey, I want to know more about this thing. Because hey, like, tools are one thing, but the story they tell is like a whole other thing. Like, it makes it more interesting. So it would have been nice if I had that little bit of information. Maybe have done a little bit more work before today's stream. But hey, but overall, it's a good stream. If I have a now working tool that does work, it's a good day. And it looks like I have to figure out either a way to better secure my workbench to the floor, or somehow figure out a way to make this like egregiously heavy. Because I have a small workshop, and I have kind of just generally kept everything on wheels because it makes it easy to slide stuff around as needed. So I'd like to go ahead and say thank you to everyone who came in today. I had a pretty lovely evening fixing up this Bailey combination hand plane, and yeah. Also, probably should go ahead and plug next stream. So I don't have the waiting room up. I'll probably get it done by this time Thursday. I can commit to that much. But on the schedule, we're going to be hanging out around the campfire, and we're going to be making beer cheese and pretzels. And I'm actually going to try to cook the pretzels in the Dutch oven, because you're the first tool-focused VTuber I've seen. I'm glad I caught the stream. You're very good at narrating. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's been a skill that I've been working on, and I've gotten some experience, but there's actually... Okay, so since you said first tool-focused VTuber, I have to talk about a thing. And this was a story I saw on the social medias. And and what the story on the social medias was, it was a younger person, who was trying to explain VTubing to, I believe, her parents. And as she was doing that, the dad goes, "Huh, this sounds like Tool Bear." And there's basically this guy on YouTube called, I'm pretty sure his channel's called Tool Bear. Give me a moment, because I gotta look this up for reasons. But I think Tool Bear is technically not only a tool-focused, like, V2, well, because it's just a guy with like a bear avatar, and he just talks about tools. And it's a pretty interesting channel too, by the way. But it is very interesting how, because some of his like stuff goes back like years and years. So one of the earlier Western VTubers was a tool-focused VTuber. But yeah, we focus on a lot of shop projects and also campfire cooking streams around here. And I'm not the only one. He didn't come in today, but there's also VTuber Dad's Old Shop. He'll sometimes stop by my streams, and I sometimes stop by his. He also does like woodworking. He's a lot more into the hand tool woodworking, where I use whatever tool gets the job done. For example, one of my tool purchases from last year was the Skill miter saw. That's a dual compound miter saw, and it has been a very lovely addition to the shop. So very pleased with that. But yeah, I definitely do need to do another actual proper woodworking project stream at some point. Not sure what that's gonna be because I have a couple ideas for the next project, but I might do something like small and simple before I get into something more ambitious, because I do have a few more ambitious plans. But yeah, thank you all very much for tuning in today. Next stream is going to be Saturday evening this time, and I should be a guy who actually knows the schedule, but I don't, because, well, that's the type of person I am. Let's see here. Post. Yes, Saturday. Yep, Saturday, same time. Hope to catch another stream sometime. Enjoyed the stream. Definitely keep it up. Oh, thank you very much, Goldberry. Thank you very much for stopping by, and hopefully you'll enjoy the next stream too. But yeah, we'll be campfire cooking on Saturday evening. But yeah, I probably should end stream and start cleaning up. But yeah, thank you everyone very much for tuning in, and hope to see you all in the next one. Bye bye. Very nice. Did I catch a picture of that? Or I could take a picture of that. I can do that. I am willing to plug other people if I think. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. But that was actually nice. Like, I actually got a subscriber out of that. Screwdrivers! I have stuff to clean up now. What went in there? Oh, just rags. Whoops, all rags. Yeah, peel this off. Should I pee? Yes. Always yes.